just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of The Locker Room. Brought to you by something a bit different this week. Something a bit different. Cattleman's Brewing Co. Brett Morris's brand new beer. It is an easy drinking. Is it a mid-strength?
Mid-strength, mate, yeah.
It's easy drinking?
Very easy drinking. I've sampled a lot of it. It's actually pretty good for hangovers too.
Yeah, fucking
nowhere near as bad when you stay on this stuff. But, mate, it's been a good little journey. It's a little side project. It's a couple of years in the making with myself, my brother, Trent Hodgkinson, and a couple of mates.
Yep.
And, we finally got the product to where it is now. And we're selling it online and slowly trickling into stores. But, yeah, it's been a good learning
process. You're in about, 20 stores already?
I wouldn't say 20. I'd say probably sort of 10 to 15.
10 to 15?
Yeah.
And you can go to cattlemansbrewing.com.au.
Cattlemansbrewingco.com.au, yeah.
And nationwide delivery?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is, yeah. It's all through Ozpost, so yeah.
This is an inside joke that you won't get, but the fans will get. I'm actually very attracted to this beer because being a country lad myself from the depths of Gold Coast country, this beer speaks to me. It speaks to me. But anyway, I just had to get that out of my system. Mate, how did it come about? Because what's my experience with the beer is, so my grandfather, before he passed away, was he couldn't believe that I'd started a beer. He was he was so proud. Literally, the last thing he ever said to me, he shook my hand and he said, "Good luck with the beer." Because he's from a time where starting your own beer, that's fucking wild. Start your own beer, that's just wild. Unheard of.
Yeah.
Whereas these days, although it is still a lot of work, as you know, it is a bit more accessible. When did you start say to your brother, or your brother said to you, "Hey, let's start a beer"?
Mate, it was actually quite funny because the boys that we're involved in, it's our punters club, right? So there's 8 of us in the punters club. Only 7 come in with the beer, but we were just on our annual golf trip that we do every year. We go away and have a golf trip, the Cattleman's Cup that we play for, and mate, we were sitting around. We all drink mid-strength. We're all older guys with families and whatnot, so mid-strength's our go.
Yep.
And we were sitting around and we just said, how good would it be if we could actually drink our own beer on one of these trips? And then we all sort of went, yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, had a really good weekend. A lot of beers drank, and on the Monday, one of the boys started to reach out to a few different breweries and said, would you be interested? He obviously dropped mine and Josh's names and Trent's name, and we had a few of them come back, but then we actually got in contact with a guy who worked at the Rocks Brewery. So over 2 years, 18 months, we slowly came up with the recipe. We had to get all our licenses and all that sort of stuff as well. So, so whilst we were doing that, worked out the recipe, and then, got it to a point where it was ready to brew. So it was, quite a fun process with all the boys. Trial and error, obviously. Some of the beers we weren't too keen on at all. But
did you get, when I first did the taste testing, the brewer brought back this real fruity stuff, and he was obviously a craft brewer. And I was like, no, bro, what the fuck? That tastes like an actual milkshake. What is doing? Did you get the similar situation?
Yeah, we did. We did, mate. We got some, pretty different stuff. I mean, us guys, we're sort of more traditional beer drinkers. When we went to the pub when we were 18, there was 5 beers to choose from.
Yeah.
You picked your beer, you drank it, and you stuck on that beer. And to this day, I will still drink that beer. If that's the only beer there, I will buy it and I'll drink it. So we sort of wanted something like that because, you go into pubs these days and there's 20 taps and you probably only know 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah.
They're all, all these different craft beers. They're all different flavours, and we just sort of said we want a beer that when you pour it into a glass, it looks like a beer, smells like a beer, and it tastes like a beer.
Absolutely.
So, mate, as you said, some of these beers will open them and you're like, oh, what's that smell like? And then you pour it into a glass and you're like, geez, it's cloudy. And I'm not, bagging anyone that sort of does that beer because there's a massive market. Craft beer in Australia, there's a huge market for it, and everyone has their particular tastes. But we just sort of said we want to go back the traditional way, the older way, and sort of go down that road, and that's what we come up with.
Boom. No, I'm exactly the same. I can have for example, a Stone and Wood pale ale. I can have one or two of them, and it's like really good to have like with a dinner or something like that. But when I'm in the backyard living the life, and I just want to sit back, have a nice, crisp, easy drinking beer, I just want a beer. I just want a beer. So yeah, eventually, I mean, with Bloke in a Bar, we may do something down the line, but our focus will always be a beer, just a straight beer.
Yeah.
Was there any discussions about like, you know, with the design, the colours? Was there anyone saying, no, I want this colour on that? 7 blokes, that's a lot of fucking mind.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk, colours, logos, writing, everything. Like every little thing was tossed up. But the good thing about having 7 is you're always gonna get to a majority.
Oh, yeah,
4-3.
Yep.
Right. So some blokes wouldn't agree on some but it'd always get to a point where we had the majority 4 versus 3. All right, we're going ahead with this. So yeah, there was a lot of discussions.
And if it all fails, you just have a wrestle off.
Yeah, well, Jamos will win that easy. He's the biggest in the group and
but I mean, surely your votes would be together. Surely you're on the same page.
Yeah, look, most of us have got pretty similar tastes anyway, which it did make it a lot easier. But as just like, we've got no idea about any of this. We all come from all different walks of life, but none of it was in brewing beer.
Yeah.
Marketing.
Yeah.
Any of this stuff.
All the things you needed to start a beer.
Exactly. So I mean, it's been interesting, and the colours that we got, I suppose they're a little bit unique. There's sort of a heritage colour.
Yeah, I like them.
And then the design, obviously, the cowboy there in the middle, the Cattleman, as we call him.
Yep, reminds me of home.
Yeah, it's something unique as well, and look, it was a very interesting process, and it was very fun, and look, we're excited by what we produced, and it's out there now for people to try, so. Yeah, the more people that try it, the better.
Boom. Now, speaking of a not-so-fun process, your retirement. Oh, actually, you know what? Might have been fun. Depends where your head was at. How's it been for you since, you had such a long career, and then obviously you did your knee. When you did your knee, was it immediately like you were considering it? Were you already considering it? You know what I mean? Did it change any thought process? What was it like?
No, well, I was already considering retiring at the end of the year anyway. So, I mean... I was just taken out of my hands, really. Like, what's, probably 5 or 6 down the track, I'm probably announcing my retirement at the end of the year anyway. So, I mean, it wasn't ideal in the way that it happened, but I wasn't upset. Like, obviously I was upset because I knew that it was going to be the last time that I was going to play NRL and, finished my career the way that I wanted to finish, but I wasn't filthy on the world or anything like that.
Okay.
And, injuries happen; they're part and parcel of rugby league, and I'd had plenty of injuries over my career, to be honest. And I was in a good patch. I was playing good footy, so it wasn't like I was playing crap and then I got injured. And then
you're trying to, you feel like fuck. I want to end playing well, not poorly. Yeah,
and people who know they're retiring at the end of the year, they have this build up into it, and if their team's going well, they know they're going to play the finals, and they're going into every finals game going, is this going to be my last game? I didn't get that. It was just gone.
Yeah.
So
took it out of your hands.
As I said, I wasn't filthy on the world. I woke up next morning and I felt light. Like, it was bizarre. Like, I felt light as if all the pressure that I put on myself, all the expectations that I've always put on myself, to play well, the pressure from the fans, the expectation from them, the coaches, all that sort of stuff, it was just gone.
Yeah.
And I literally woke up next morning and it felt like a whole weight had been taken off my shoulders.
Yeah.
Like, I could just be normal again.
Yeah, you could be a normal human being. There was
it was it was a bizarre feeling, but I wasn't. I was pretty happy. Like, not happy with the injury, but I knew that playing rugby league was over, and that was it.
And it's like it's almost like a freedom has it's sad, but at the same time, wow, like there's so much possibility really to just do what I want to do in my life. Like, it's as small as go down and have a Cattleman's Brewing Co. beer, as small as that.
Well, that's it. Yeah, I could have a beer on a Wednesday night and not feel guilty.
Yep. I mean, we weren't like the old school players. I mean, sometimes we were, but those blokes, they were used to having midweek beers, whereas like it was frowned upon.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, when I first started my career, you could still go and have a beer after the video session on a Monday. You go to the pub in the Arvo and have a beer or whatever. But yeah, not these days. It was definitely frowned upon. But yeah, I mean, that's the way that rugby league went. It's a lot more professional. Camera phones come out. Everyone has a camera phone. take a photo of you in a pub on a Wednesday arvo. It makes the paper on Thursday morning.
Yep. Apparently you're on a bender or something.
Yeah,
even though
coach is pulling you into the office. So, that went out the window pretty quick. But, yeah, as I said, mate, it's given me, a lot more freedom to do things that, I've never done in the past.
So you do your knee. When you woke up, or that night, were you already like, oh, my career's over? Like, I'm going to retire? Or did it take a few days for you to say it out loud? Like, when did you really, that was the decision, I'm retiring?
Look, I knew straight away. As soon as I got told it was me ACL, I knew straight away that was it. Yeah.
Fuck.
I mean, look, I already had it in my mind that I was going to retire at the end of the year. So, there's no chance I'm coming back from this. Even if there was some radical surgery, I don't think I would have even taken that option.
That option, yeah, okay.
So, I mean, I knew straight away. I said, to the boys in the sheds after the game, this is probably the last game I'm ever going to play. It was a privilege to play with you lads. Some of you, I call you mates for the rest of my life, and, opportunity to go out as a captain of this club. It's something I'll never forget. So, I think those guys as well, they knew the impact of the injury on my career and whatnot. And but in saying that, it was almost a blessing in disguise because, I obviously had ambitions to be a coach post-football, and it gave me that opportunity to start that a little bit early. As soon as, all the injury and all the sort of media and all that sort of died down, Robbo asked me what I was doing. I said, I want to get back in there and help out. I want to get back in the offices and help the boys. I'm still part of this team. And so he basically said, all right, learn how to cut video and you can start doing some stuff with our edges. So I was basically cutting video of the opposition, where their weaknesses were, so I could show these videos of how we were going to attack the sides. And mate, he even had me up there running the meetings as well in front of all the boys.
No way.
Yeah, so
how good.
Yeah, I mean, like he said, this is what you want to do. This is your chance. So I got a little bit of a insight into it straight away and a taste of it, and loved it. So it was just unfortunate when the boys went up to Queensland. I had to stay back home. I'd literally had my operation, so they'd just gone back into the bubble. I had to leave the bubble to have my operation. Yeah. And then I was like, they're like, if you want to come back in the bubble, you've got to do all this stuff for 2 weeks leading into it. Yeah. And by that time, they were already leaving. So I was just like, all right, I'll just stay down here.
Yeah, I might just stay down here.
And I don't think my wife would have been too happy if I left her with the 3 kids as well. So with all the homeschooling that was going on.
Oh, my God. Could you imagine if it had happened before you're injured? Oh, yeah. What's really interesting, speaking of coaching as well, is when you got injured and you could see the cameras in the back of the changing room. There's this really cool, I guess, snapshot or whatever of Suwali just looking across at you, and I just thought it was such a cool image because obviously he is probably the most talented outside back we've got. In maybe since Latrell. Again, I don't want to put pressure on the kid, but he's got everything you would need to. What's it like? Now that you're moving into the coaching, does that kind of stuff excite you, seeing a guy like Suwali or even like Adam Kieran who's moving to the centres, all that kind of stuff? Does that excite you?
Yeah, definitely. Like, as you said, young Joe, you can see he's got plenty of talent. He's going to be a beast. And, Adam Kieran as well, as you said, moving out to the centres. These are all young kids that, they've had a taste of playing first grade, and what you want from those guys is to play regular first grade and to play well. Obviously, being an outside back, I think there'll be an opportunity for me to, get my hands on them and help out where I can and, try and teach them things that I've learned over my career that help me, to play at a high standard and maintain that standard throughout my career. It's unfortunate for Joey, he had that injury, but I was doing rehab and basically he was doing rehab. I've never seen a more professional 18-year-old kid in a rehab room. Wow. Mate, he's a switched on kid. He's a good kid.
Not common for a guy as talented as him. Usually you don't get both.
Yeah, the dedication's there. So I think that's, and he, you speak, he listens. He's a kid that wants to learn. He's a kid that wants to get better. And, he probably knows that he's, got this talent, but he doesn't want to waste it. You can tell he doesn't want to waste it. And he wants to take every opportunity that he gets given and he wants to thrive. So, he's a good young kid and, yeah, he definitely has a bright future.
It's so rare that you get a kid as naturally gifted, especially the bigger kids. Smaller kids that are quick and nippy and that, usually they have to learn to train hard in that because the physicality of rugby league, you're forced to. Whereas
I was one of those kids.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas like a Suwali, being big like that, he would have come up through the grades just dominating people. And like a perfect example in the forwards is a guy like Dave Taylor. Obviously, he still played, for his state and that, but sometimes his training suffered because he'd grown up just dominating everyone. Whereas it's really interesting to hear Suwali has that mentality at such a young age. Usually, again, sometimes it takes 2 to 3 years before they start going, you know what, I'm a professional athlete. I'm not just a kid playing footy.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I mean, like you said, like these kids were, potentially the biggest in their competition or whatever, but when you're playing against men, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's a totally different ball game. You can be the best kid coming through the grades and dominate all your, all the competitions that you've played in or whatever. But when you coming up against men, you've got to step it up. You've got to be able to learn. You've got to pick up, the things that are going to help you become a better player. And I'm not just talking about on the field. I'm talking about all the little stuff off it. As you said, being a professional. Like some of these guys fall through the cracks because they're not professional.
Yeah.
And, sometimes their egos, like you said, they're playing first grade. They think that it's just going to last forever, and they don't want to work hard. They don't want to put in, day after day, week after week. They think, I'll just get by and I'll get through this. My talent will get me through. But
there's always another club that wants me.
There's the guys. They're the guys that tend to fall through the cracks.
Yeah,
which is a shame.
Absolutely. It's so good to hear the guy like Suwali, especially with the amount of pressure. I mean, it actually worked perfectly for you guys at the start of the year, in a sense. Like, obviously not for Joseph because it'd be torture being under that much spotlight. But it actually worked really well because Sam Walker got to take a step back, and because like on the podcast before the season started, I actually said, guys, it's actually not Suwali that is the next in line at the Roosters right now. It's Sam Walker that's kind of floating under the radar. And even though he probably played more first grade than he should have just due to all the injuries and that, he still killed it when he played first grade, you know what I mean? What's it like seeing a guy like Sam Walker come through? Because it's great, right? His confidence on the field is wild.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you guys got to see what he does on the field, but we saw that daily in training, especially, previous season where these guys didn't have a competition to play in.
Yeah.
Their competition got canned. So he was training against us regularly, and mate, he was tearing us to shreds. Like, you could tell the kid could play footy, and you can tell that he's grown up around football his whole life because he thinks about different situations. Like, he watches a lot of footy too. And he's, one of these kids that he picks up things quickly. That sort of off the cuff style of footy, you sort of don't see that too much in young kids either these days. I don't know, whether it's through coaching or whatever, that they just sort of lose that a little bit. But Sammy's got, great instincts as well. He's got that little bit of off the cuff football that is good, but he can also play the structured football that's needed, to run a football team. So. Yeah, look, he was tearing us to shreds at training, so we knew that he was a special talent. And then, obviously, when he got his chance, you saw what he could do. And people were blown away by it, but the people within, they just knew. We knew what Sam was capable of. So he's a good young kid, very talented. And, obviously, he's only small. He's going to have a lot of traffic coming his way throughout his career, but he's great. He's a growing boy. He's going to keep growing, and he'll get to a point where he'll enjoy that side of rugby league because, as a half, they're always the guys that are going to get targeted. They're always the smaller guys, but the halves that can, stand in front of guys and not be afraid to make tackles, then, they're the ones that get a lot of respect, and, guys stop running at them because they're just getting tipped on their heads.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, not on their heads, on their backsides.
You can't do that these days, bro. You can't do that these days. This Neanderthal talking about tipping blokes on their head. Jesus. But he has the one ingredient you need. He's tough as fuck. Like, a lot of halves, it's similar to the Solali situation in the sense of, like, a lot of halves that are as good in attack as he is don't necessarily have that mental toughness. You've got to, like, slowly grind it into them over the next 3 or 4 years of, like, mate, you have to put your body on the line. You cannot be pulling out of tackles. Whereas he he's almost too tough for his own good.
Yeah, and I mean, as I said, that's what you want to see from these guys. You want them to stand in front and not be afraid to make the tackles. You know, they know the traffic's coming their way, so you jump out of it, they're going to run through and score. You've got to stand in front of it and you've got to stop it. And he had the mentality that I'm going to have a crack. I mean, he had Boyd Cordner, Angus Crichton running at him all pre-season. So
torture, it's nightmare stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So, he had a good learning there, and he's, as I said, he's still learning how to to play that role week in, week out. And obviously he's wonderful in attack with the ball. Everyone can see that, but it's about learning the defensive side and loving it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the key. You're right. Like loving it, like enjoying it. You can only pretend so long of like getting in there and having a dig before you go, you know what, I hate this shit. Whereas if you learn to love it, it helps so much. Okay, so takes back to a young fella born in Kiama, played for the Kiama Knights.
I wasn't born in Kiama. I was born in St George, actually.
Oh, born in St George.
Yeah, St George Hospital.
Wow, that is an error from Matt. The guy sitting right to my right, you just got him fired. So I hope you feel good.
Sorry, buddy. I was born at St George Hospital.
Yep.
Yeah, the old boy was playing for the Dragons, and I was born at Cogra. So. Yeah.
Okay, well, that has been settled. So
did go to school in Kiama, so you got that right.
You got that right. So all the people out there that have been walking around going, you know what, Brett Morris was born in Kiama. You've been wrong this whole time. St. George. But yeah, growing up, obviously, you had the typical, I guess you got your fathers playing NRL, but it's like internally, I'm sure you don't see it like that. It's just your dad, I'm assuming. Was it like for you? What was it like?
I was too young to sort of even see him playing. I think he retired when I was 4. So, I don't really remember watching him or going to the footy. But he had this tape that he played non-stop with all his tries. I think you can get it up on YouTube now. I think someone's put it up there.
Yeah,
but,
it's probably him.
Mate, I think it might have been under some fake name. But, yeah, look, we used to watch that all the time and used to like marvel at it, like how good a player he was. So I think we understood how good he was, obviously not being able to see him play, but we actually saw the footage and, as I got older and got closer to playing rugby league and, against men, realising how hard it was, like, he was a fair player.
Yeah, fair player. Bloody oath, he was a fair player. So I guess, was it always rugby league on the menu for you, or was it? Did you just do athletics, or?
Mate, we did every sport that we could do. Rugby league was always our option A. It was always option 1. Wherever we could do that, we were going to do that. But touch football, cricket, little athletics, basketball. I think we even tried baseball for a year.
Baseball?
We literally played every sport. I think Mum just wanted to get us out of the house so she could have some spare time to herself. We were pretty full on. And when we weren't, playing sport on the weekends, we were outside every afternoon playing footy against each other, kids from the street, older brother. Like, it was just non-stop footy. Like, knee footy inside, everything. Our whole life was dead set consumed by rugby league.
Rugby league. When was it Dragons to grow up liking?
Yeah, I was a big Dragons fan growing up. I always used to go, like obviously the Steelers as well, used to go to the hill at Wynn Stadium, catch the train in when Mum would let me in, sit on the hill and watch the footy, so I used to love it. I was actually a little bit of a Broncos fan too. I used to love watching Big Dell play. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, Big Dell. Mate, that was when those big powerhouse wingers started. So I used to love watching Big Dell. Obviously he was a showman as well, so that was something I loved to watch. But they were main clubs, and obviously the old boy played for the Roosters as well, so I always used to watch their games as well. So I wasn't entirely strictly a Dragons fan. I just love rugby league. So
And so when did you? I guess when did it start becoming I'm actually decent at this. I'm making rep sides or not making rep sides, but I'm a good footy player, and I have enough talent to potentially have a crack at NRL.
Yeah, look, we were always, as young kids, probably up until we were about 12 or 13, like always like the sort of best kids in our area. And then, obviously puberty and kids grow and whatever. And me and Josh, we were, late bloomers or whatever. Like, we had kids that were twice the size of us. So, like, all these kids that we'd been, toweling up in our early, 10 to 12s or whatever, those kids got massive and they all turned into these weapons and whatever. And you know, we were missing rep sides at 15, 16 just because we were too small. You know, we always had the speed and we always put in the hard work or whatever. But, yeah, you're just too small. Come back next year, try again. So it wasn't until about 17, 18 sort of started, you know, making sides regularly. And then, you know, basically from 18, it all happened very quickly. You know, sort of SG ball into Jersey flag into, it was called Premier League then, which was reserve grade. So basically, you had whoever didn't get picked in the NRL squad. Basically, so they had top 25 back then. Then 8 blokes that didn't make the squad, they went straight into Premier League, and then they sort of just pulled up younger kids or whoever else they had around. So, you know, playing Premier League at 18 years old. Oh, I think I might have been 17.
You would have been 17 because you debuted at 2007. 2006, sorry.
Yeah. So I was 19, turning 20 when I debuted. But yeah, I mean, playing against men at 17, 18 years old, like some of these guys had played over 100 NRL games. And to sort of get that experience and perform well, that's sort of when you knew that there was that track to NRL was a big chance of happening. So I debuted in 2006 when I was 19 years old. So I left school in 2004. So 2005, I had like a development role for the Dragons. I was going around to schools teaching kids how to play rugby league and sort of training part-time. I trained over the off-season with the first grade squad and then went back to sort of part-time with the Premier League guys. And
do you remember the first time you rocked up to first grade and saw all the first graders? Yeah,
I was like... Holy shit. Like everyone was twice the size of it. I was still, you know, a skinny little dude. When I debuted, I was only 85 kilos. So I was a little dude. And I think when I finished playing, I was 97. So it's a big difference. But I was just a skinny little whippet, I suppose. Which I think most of the time I ran out of fear of being tackled by these bigger dudes, and that's why I just sort of streaked down that wing most of the time because I was too scared to get tackled.
When did you realise like you were taking that step up? Like sometimes when young guys come in, they don't actually realise like every day is hectic. Every day is like you're going as hard as you can. There's no days off. Did you ever have a session, or was it just over a period of time where you're like, wow, this is first grade. This is first grade training.
Yeah, I think so. The 2006 season, we were training full time at that stage. So we just knew that, you know, if we sort of worked hard, trained hard, that our chance could come at any time. And then obviously once you get given that chance, you don't want to lose it. So, mate, the training again, like goes through like all the fitness drills or whatever. You're trying to win them because you don't want to give them a reason to drop you. I mean, so like my debut, like I wasn't even 18th man. So back then they only had the 18th man. There was no 19th man or anything like that. I think Reece Simmons might have been 18th man, or he might have been playing. Anyway, I got the call the night before the game. You're playing. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, you're playing tomorrow. And I was like, oh, shit. So like, I obviously wasn't prepared because I wasn't 18th man or whatever. So I was just, you know, getting ready to play, you know, my reserve grade game or whatever that weekend. And then, got the call up. And then, you know, from that day, like, I basically said, I don't want to lose this spot. So it was, a matter of, just working extra hard and trying to really cement that spot. Because, you know, young kids, you can sort of go in and out of first grade. And, you know, that actually happened to me. I had an injury the year after. I only played 2 games. And then 2008, I was sort of in and out, just, again, through injury and form or whatnot. So it was a learning curve. But that first year that I had was, you know, I started playing some really good footy, and towards the back end of the year, I felt like, you know, I'd established myself as a first grader, and obviously the injuries and whatnot over the next couple of years didn't help. But I mean, come 2009, I started the year. It was when Wayne first showed up. Started the year in reserve grade. It was, mate. To this day, I still reckon it's the best preseason I've ever had.
Really?
Like I was unbelievably fit. I started the preseason in Fat Club. That's probably why. I started 2 weeks before everyone else, and by the time all those guys got back, I was flying. So I was, you know, felt like I was ahead of everyone. By the time I got to the end of that preseason, I felt like I was in probably the best shape I'd probably ever been in. So, and you know, I was disappointed. I started the year in reserve grade. We still had Big Dell, Jace Nightingale had been overseas the year before with Wayne as coach of the Kiwis. So Wayne was like, I love what I see with Jace.
Yep.
And, mate, you can't blame him. Jace, outstanding player as well. So it was only through an injury to Jace. I think it was in like round 3 or he strained his hammy or something. So I got a start, and I made sure that day I was like, I'm not
leaving it.
I'm not. So I think I ran for about 250 metres.
A million hit-ups.
I just said, I don't want to lose this spot. So, and lucky enough, Wayne picked me the next week, and then at the back end of that year, I went on to play for Australia. So,
wow.
I had an amazing year that year, and I mean, these are like little setbacks that you have throughout your career, but you can either go one way, you can either kick stones and sulk, and 6 months later you're out the door or whatever.
Literally.
A year later you're out the door, or you can take it in your stride and realise what you need to do to get better. And when you get those chances, you just got to take them. So, I mean, they're learning curves on the way from my first year, 2006, having a really good year, and then dealing with injury, 2007, 2008 injury and form, and then 2009 being in the best shape you've been in and starting in reserve grade. But these are all things that probably put me in really good stead for the rest of my career. And from that day, I never looked back.
What was it like? You said you were a fan of Dell growing up. Meeting Dell for the first time. He's a big ball of energy. What was it like meeting a big fella?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah, it was awesome. Just to see there's an aura about him. It's obviously the showmanship. Yeah. And talking about himself in third person everywhere he goes, but everyone knows him. Literally you go sit down at a coffee shop or whatever, and everyone wanted to come and have a chat. And obviously Dell was, the redemption sort of story. 2008, he'd come back from that drugs saga, and then 2009 it was because he'd had the whole preseason and prepared, and he was ready for a big year. But I mean, it was awesome watching him grow up as a kid. Like, he was a beast.
So big, eh?
So big.
Wow,
and like just seeing him just around the place, how he interacted with people, like the fan days. Training against him, in the gym with him, because it ended up being me and him on the wings, right? So 2009, and we always used to do left versus right opposed sessions, mate. And the whole time he would just sledge me non-stop, and I'd be like, Del, I'm on your team here. So he'd just absolutely give it to me, and then he always used to do the score count, 1-0 Del, like if you scored a try or whatever. And I used to score 3 tries or something, because we had the lethal left edge then, Darius Boyd coming around. He'd put me in for about 40 tries or something in 2 years. And I used to just, it'd be 3-0 or whatever. I wouldn't say a single word, and then Del would get one and be like, 1-0 baby. I'm like, oh my God. Mate, he was always fun, always fun to have around training. And I mean, obviously when things got serious or whatever, that Del was always there to sort of, ease up the mood. And absolute legend of a guy. Still talk to him to this day. And I mean, when you get to play with sort of one of your idols or one of the guys that you really love playing growing up, that was pretty cool. And
so 2009, you end up playing for your country. You scored 6 times in 4 games. You finished the tournament as top try scorer. Did that give you a mountain of confidence?
It did, but in saying that, and playing in the best side in the world, I was playing outside GI.
Wow.
I didn't have to do much. It's literally just let him make the break, run down next to him, and he'd just pass me the ball. He was a proper beast, and he had a really good 4 Nations as well. So I was just feeding off the back of that. But I mean, that was an awesome trip. Myself and Josh both went on that tour. We got to play for Australia together in 2009 in France, of all places. And I mean, that was such a special tour. Obviously, being my first one, but doing it with the bro, and just some of the names in that side, Thurston,
crazy,
Lockyer, obviously Queenslanders, and I never got the chance to play with them in State of Origin and whatever, but you always admired them. Ultimate competitors, absolute beasts of players, and I'm lining up next to them. I'm this is unreal.
The best.
Yeah.
So the next year rolls around, and this is the year. 2010. You roll into it. So 2009, it's a disappointing end for you guys, because you minor premiers. Yeah. And then you get bounced out in straight sets.
So that was the old first versus 8th. We played Para. So we played him the last round of the season, and we pumped him. It was like 37-0. We're like, oh, this will be easy next week.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then they dusted us. And then, we had to go up to Queensland after that. So, we'd finished first. We'd lost our first final, which no one picked us to lose, which was, frustrating. But then we had to go and play the Broncos up at Suncorp.
Oh, fuck.
And it was just like, oh, this is torture.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, in front of their home fans, they turned one on. We were licking our wounds after 2009. So
minor Prem's bounced out.
Coming in 2010, we knew we had a side that could win the comp. And we basically had that mentality the whole year. Like, we were going to do whatever it took to win. And I don't think at one point throughout that whole, because the Dragons Chokers tag had been there for a while, because 05 should have won. They had the best team, should have won the comp. 06 lost the grand final qualifier. 2009 minor premiers, got bounced out straight sets. So, there was a lot in the media saying, they're chokers, they can't talk. But we never sort of read that at all. The good thing about Wayne was, and being down in Wollongong as well, we sort of got away from a lot of the media, didn't have to listen to it. And Wayne sort of just said, don't read the papers. You don't need to. There's no point. So within our sort of walls, we knew what we could do, and we knew that we're a big chance of winning the comp that year. And
so you're going through the year and everything seems to be aligning. Your defence is crazy good. What was it like going to that final series? Because you had a close call. Was it against the Tigers maybe?
Yeah, Tigers.
Yeah, close call there. Well, that final series, what was it like for you?
Well, we'd learn our lessons from the year before that, you can be the best side for 26 rounds, but it doesn't matter. Come finals, it's a totally different comp. So the most pleasing thing for us was, the finals performance week one. What did we Manly? I can't remember. I think we might have beat them to 0.
Wow.
We pumped them. Yeah, probably pumped them. So obviously had the week off, and then we played the Tigers. Now the Tigers were playing good footy. We'd had some good battles with them throughout the year, and we knew that was going to be a tough game. But never at any stage did we doubt ourselves. It's funny because we come in at halftime of that game and we're like, geez, we're playing bad. We knew we weren't playing as good as we could, but no one was panicking. No one panicked one bit. It was like, all right, we just need to get back to plan A and just nail that. And by the end of this game, we'll be fine. So, come down to it, Seo kicks a field goal and we win the game and we're into the grand final. So, I think for some of those guys, that was a massive relief as well. Dean Young, part of 05. I think Benny Craig, Coops, Gaz, Benny Hornby, these guys have played in 05. So I think taking the next step for them, was a massive thing. They got a great sense of relief out of that. But for us younger guys, we didn't have sort of that baggage there. It didn't bother us at all. And, coming into the grand final, we were very confident that we could win.
And so grand final rolls around, and what's interesting about your grand final is you ended up winning it, pretty, I guess, comfortably. But for at least, if I recall correctly, it was like 60 minutes. The game was in the kind of balance.
Yeah.
Do you remember anything from the grand final specifically?
Yeah. Again, from the first half, I remember we weren't playing very good at all. Roosters went in with the lead 8-6 at half time, so they'd scored 2 tries, but they'd missed both their kicks. Wayne basically said, come on, boys, let's just get our act together. He basically just said, we've been going left the whole time. Let's just go right this half.
Really?
That was literally as simple as it was, and it was like, yeah, righto.
Fuck.
Let's just go right and let's just, I know that sounds simple, but, it was along the lines of that.
Yeah.
And, that's what happened.
Yeah.
We basically just shifted our point of attack, and we started going right. And, Nighty goes over in the corner for a couple of tries, and that sort of, made them sort of start doubting themselves, second-guessing themselves as we'd take the lead. See how he'd come up with a pretty big kick from the sideline as well. And then, Dino goes over for the game, and then...
was it Feeney that scored?
Feeney at the end there. Yeah. So, I think for the last 10 minutes or so, we knew that we were going to win. So, when you're in that position in a grand final, it's a pretty cool feeling.
And, so you're on the field. The game's wrapped up. What are you thinking? Fuck.
Mate, you're just over the moon.
Yeah.
Like, you literally, because you know all the hard work that's gone into it. Like,
Yeah.
you know all the hard work that's gone into it from everyone in your team, all the guys that have been putting in the hard yards for the last however long, you know, you've been playing together. It's a dream that you've had since you're a little kid that you want to fulfill, that you want to win a grand final. So, mate, yeah, I mean, so much, you know, so many different emotions that, you know, come across you. Like, you're just, like, over the moon, like, joyful, tearful, like, it's literally, it's all there. And, you know, when that final hooter goes, it's, mate, it's one of the best feelings. And lucky enough, I got to do it twice.
Yeah, I just, 2 premierships, like, fuck.
I mean, obviously that one was a lot different to the one that I had with the Roosters, because the Roosters one was just such a close game. Yeah. And it was nail-biting, and literally the result was, you know, it was on the edge for, you know, that whole second half. So, like, there's no way you could relax or anything like that, whereas you couldn't relax in the, you know, the 2010 grand final, but you could definitely do your job and enjoy it, whereas you're under the pump, you're not enjoying it.
No, you're stressing, like, please don't come down my edge.
You're stressing, you're like, don't stuff up. Just don't stuff up. Like, and obviously you're not thinking that, but you're thinking if something goes wrong and I'm the blame and we lose this game, oh shit. Fuck. But, being professional athletes, you put that stuff to the side, obviously, and you can still do your job. But, yeah, I mean, that was a lot less stressful, that's for sure, 2010.
Oh, man, I can imagine. And also that 2010 year, you make your Origin debut. Do you remember where you were when you got called up, and how did that all come about? Were you expecting it? Surprised?
Yeah, look, I was expecting it because I played for Australia the year before, so I was expecting to play Origin that year. I can't remember where it was when I got called. But yeah, again, it's a childhood dream to play State of Origin. So yeah, I was over the moon. Josh made his State of Origin debut the year before in 2009. So
really?
I think he played. Yeah, I think he might have played 2 games, or did he play the 1 game? Anyway, I think game 3, I went and watched him play up at Suncorp. And the Blues had already lost the series, but game 3 they went up there and they won the game. I'm pretty sure it was where they put the bomb up.
Oh, for the scrap.
Yeah, for the scrap. So that was one of Josh's first starting games. So I think the game before he'd come off the bench and he might have played 15 minutes or something like that. So I got up there and I got to watch that in 2009. I was like, oh my God, I just want to play this game. Wow. So yeah, 2010 come around and it's over the moon. It was amazing.
What was it like, you know, you're coming up to Queensland in their dominant period? Is it more nerve-wracking in the sense of, like, far out, like, this is going to be, I'm against one of the best teams. They'd won 3 by that stage, 3 in a row?
They won 6, 7,
4 in a row by
8,
that stage.
9, yeah.
So what's it like when you're sitting across from them and you're going, okay, we got to make this, we got to find a way here?
Oh, for me, it was exciting. Like, I wasn't, it wasn't daunting or anything like that, because you wanted to turn the tide. Like, you wanted to get back in New South Wales' favour. So for me, it was exciting, and after the losses, very frustrating and mentally exhausting, because Origin, you put so much into them. They're not just a physical battle; it's the mental.
What's
the mental
tougher, Origin or Grand Final?
Look, that's a good question. I don't know. Like, Origin, the game is tougher. I reckon that's the toughest football you can play. Yeah,
but maybe the pressure of a grand final.
Yeah, obviously the pressure that you put on yourselves and all your fans put on you is probably a lot larger, because you've played the 26 rounds, you've played the finals, and it's the last game of the year. So they want to see a result and they want to see you winning. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of pressure on the grand final, but mate, physically, like, the Origin games, they're insane. Like, it's
every tackle you get north.
Like, don't get me wrong, the speeds of some finals games and that, they go through the roof as well, and the quality of football is just really, really good. But I'm talking about the speed of the game and the physicality. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you can see it. It's just the intensity's
hurting.
Yeah.
Like, every part of your body hurts. And then you come off and you cool down, and it's just like, this is going to be bad tomorrow.
Yeah,
like,
I got to play in 3 days.
Bruised, but back then 3 days, 2 days, whatever it was. But yeah, I mean, physically, they're the hardest games I think I've ever played, for sure.
Far out. Is there anything you remember specifically from your debut, like when you put on that jersey, the sky blue?
Look, again, it was a dream to put the jersey on, but like when I think I was always on Folau. So,
really?
like, he was literally, like, jumping over everyone, scoring tries and that. I just remember saying to myself, I'm not going to let this bloke score a try over me, jumping in the air.
Yeah.
And that was, like, the one job that I just wanted to get right. Because he'd just been on highlight reels non-stop for Queensland doing that. So, I didn't have to stop him from doing that, which was good. But, again, like, they just knew how to play footy. Like, they just... we always had close games and they'd somehow find a way just to get it over us in the end of the games and win the series. Like, we had so many close series as well.
Yeah. That's the thing with the 8 in a row or whatever. It doesn't necessarily show you how close each series was. Like, if you took each series, you would be like, I mean, they were one mistake away so the gap, although it was 8 in a row and it was, as a Queenslander, that's incredible, but the gap wasn't as wide as we now look back on and think, oh, they must have just towed them up everywhere. Like, it was close nearly every series. I think there might have been only like maybe 2 of the series that were dominant. But other than that, it was pretty close. Like,
and that was the thing. That's why, like, for us, it was so frustrating because we knew we were getting close. Like, we could feel we were getting closer and closer. So, like, and it was frustrating because, we knew that New South Wales, they wanted us to win a series. We knew they had our back. Like, no matter how many we'd lost, they were always turning up to support us, and we were always grateful of that because, if your team's lost 7 series in a row, you have every right just to go, well, stuff this, I'm not going to support, I'm not going to watch.
Yeah.
Well, why should I?
Yeah.
They can't beat this side.
Yeah.
But, 2014, like, it just got to the point where we said, enough's enough. Like, this is beyond a joke. Again, they had, amazing side. Yeah. Amazing side. Like, some of these guys are definitely going down as immortals. Like, we basically played against a side full of immortals.
So, like, literally.
We knew it was going to be hard, right? And so the first game was up in Queensland. It was the 100th state of origin. So, like, there was we knew it was going to be a massive spectacle. There was a lot of big fuss made about it. And we basically said, well, this is enough. Enough's enough. We're winning this game. We've got to do whatever it takes to win this game. You've got to put your body on the line. Self-preservation's out the window. You do whatever you can to win this game of football.
Yep.
And we wanted to show them that on their home turf that we could beat them. And, that first game in the 2014 series, that was brutal.
Yeah, I mean, it was brutal. You dislocated your shoulder.
Yeah.
So walk us through the dislocation of the shoulder, like, because you kept playing.
Yeah.
Like, is your mindset just basically what you said? Like, I don't care how damaged my body gets, I'm going until I just simply cannot go anymore.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. Like, obviously, when I scored the try and did it, and I was like, oh, shit, this isn't good. This that, like, no, this is bad. This hurts.
Can usually tell, like, something's serious here.
So, like, I got to my feet, we walked back to the sideline with all the coaching staff, and they were all sort of talking. They all had their monitors on or whatever, like their headsets on. They were all talking between each other. But I remember looking at the bench, and we had 4 forwards, and I was just like, fuck, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
They're not playing on the wing. So I said, I'll just suck it up. I'll run back to my spot, and you can just keep checking on me. And if it gets to a point where I can't do my job, take me off.
Okay.
So basically, Paul McGregor was the trainer, and he kept running out saying, Slip, how are you?
Yeah.
Good.
Slip,
how are you? Good. Basically, the adrenaline just got me through the game.
Yep.
And then, the brother as well, like, he's standing on playing outside him. He's like, come on, need you. You got to work here. Like, so, and being brother and best mate, I didn't want to let him down either.
Yeah.
I didn't want to let him down. I didn't want to let my teammates down. I didn't want to let the family down. I didn't want to let the state down. So I was like, there was a lot that obviously went into it in my mindset that got me through the game. But I mean, when Josh went down as well with his knee, and I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, but because he went down with his knee, and didn't he chase back and do a try-saving tackle?
Yeah, so he was sitting on the sideline, and the physio's, testing his knee, and she's like, I think you've done your ACL. And he was like, oh, shit. And literally, as she said that, they were about to make it. Like, he could see, I think we were short. We had like 2 people on a short side. They had about 4 blokes wrapping around. It was like Slater, Inglis, Lockyer.
Torture.
We were just like, Oh, shit.
Literally like
I'm standing there with my shoulders going, oh, no.
the three, like if you could pick three players in the history of the game that you wouldn't want running at you.
I don't know if it was Lockie or Thurston. It was one of them, but...
Well, I mean, just put in Thurston or Lockie, interchange them. Slater and Inglis, it's not what you want running at you.
No, and so then all of a sudden he's just popped up off the sideline, sprinted back and just made the tackle and got back in the defensive line until they could work out someone to put there. And I think they ended up putting Luke Lewis there. Yeah. Which, I mean, Louis is a guy that could play centre. I mean, obviously when I looked at the bench and saw him, I didn't want him to play wing. Yeah.
He was much bigger.
He started on the wing, but he moved into back row by that stage.
Exactly.
So, and back rowers and centres these days, that they can sort of be interchanged.
Yeah.
And you know, Louis is the type of player that could do that easily. So I wasn't too worried about that one. But yeah, obviously Josh getting up off the deck and doing that. And you know, these are moments that we wanted to show New South Wales how much we cared about the jersey, how much pride we had in it, and how much we respected the jersey, and how much we wanted to win. And we wanted our fans to see that. And, yeah, I suppose after that game, you know, I think Chalky Watmow had a ruptured bicep. Bo Scott basically collapsed of exhaustion in the sheds after the game. Mate, there was ice packs everywhere. Like, literally everyone was just...
Dunskies.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then, you know, obviously we had Hainsey as well in that side. And that was probably one of the best Origin series I think he had in his career as well.
Yeah, 2004, absolutely. And so did your brother end up doing his MCL or his ACL?
No, so he did his PCL.
PCL?
He did his PCL. And I think he ended up rehabbing it and come back and played in game 3. I think. But by that stage, obviously the boys had gone back to New South Wales.
Yep.
And we wrapped up the series there. Trent Hogginson with the show and go and score the try. And me and Josh were both sitting in the stands, both injured. And that was such an awesome feeling, especially when that final siren went. You know, obviously we weren't out there playing, but as soon as that went, we jumped on the field with all the boys and we celebrated with them. Mate. And you know, Laurie was an awesome coach. Like, I love playing under Laurie. Awesome coach, awesome bloke. And I mean, to see him get that reward as well after the years of heartache that everyone had. Yeah, I mean, 2014, that Origin series is, go down as one of my favourites of all time, even though I only played the one game.
No, I think you earned it. You earned the right to say you bloody won the series. It was a crazy moment. Like, just seeing both you and your brother just like, he's fucked, you're fucked. Like, you could just, when you see someone injured, their body language is just a little bit out. I like, it's weird because, like, as a Queenslander, obviously I want Queensland to win, but at the same time, like, I could appreciate how much it meant to New South Wales, and also it kind of brought back that, like, shit, we can lose. Like, it just brought something back to Origin. You can't. If Queensland just keep winning, what's the point? Like, what is the point? And then what's scary now is, like, New South Wales have a really good young squad, so it's going to be really interesting to see if they can put the right things in place. I don't think anyone will ever go on an 8. I mean, I won't never say never, but the chances of, like, multiple immortals replacing other immortals over a 10-year period, it's nearly impossible. Like, Webke to Petro, and then you've got, like, in the halves, you had Cronk on the bench. You had guys like Slater being kept out by Carmichael Hunt. Like, that's how good the side was. Lockyer got replaced by Thurston. I think it's going to be interesting to see that the next generation, because it looks good, very good. But okay, so back to club footy. 2011, you play for the All Stars, and you play in the Super League game against the Wigan Warriors. You scored 2 tries at DW Stadium. What was that like, playing over there and scoring 2 tries?
Well, I was lucky enough. I played a test match there the year before.
Okay.
2009, I think it was. We played the test match there. So I actually got a chance to play there before. But, mate, I love playing in front of the English crowds. Yeah. Like, it is, it's one of the best things to do. Playing against Wigan, they were coached by Michael Maguire at the time. So they were a really good defensive side.
Yeah.
And, mate, they got out of the blocks super quick. They had us, I think, 2 tries. Was it 2 tries down pretty early? And, we didn't give ourselves the best opportunities. But as soon as we started to get some good attacking footy, like that left side that we spoke about earlier, so put me in for a couple of tries. So, we ended up getting over them there. And, it's an awesome feeling, especially, you know, World Club Challenge. You can say you're the best team in the world, basically. So that was after the great success we had of 2010. You know, we felt like we were the best side in the world, and to get the chance to win that game as well, that was an awesome experience playing in a World Cup Challenge.
What was it like? Did you get to celebrate over there at all?
We had a stopover on the way back. So we basically went to finish the game, and we got a bus straight back to the airport. We stayed at this little hotel next to the airport. We're up nice and early, and we're on a flight, and we stopped at Hong Kong on the way home.
Yeah, good.
So we had a night over in Hong Kong. So that was that was pretty cool.
What do we lose?
The boys were ready to let their hair down.
Yeah.
Mate, dealing with the jet lag and whatever. Yeah, it was.
Would have been messy.
It was pretty messy. It was pretty messy. The funny thing was, we were staying in a hotel. It was called the Langham Palace, maybe. And there was 2 hotels, right? So there was 2 called the Langham. So at the end of the night, all the boys like getting in cabs or whatever. I'm going to the Langham. Half the boys ended up at one hotel, half of them ended up at the other. They were like super far away from each other. But then also the one that we were actually staying in had 2 towers. So some blokes were like going up the wrong tower. Like we literally got there, threw our bags in our rooms and walked straight out and gone to wherever to have a beer or whatever. So no one even knew where their rooms were. Mate, everyone's like walking around this hotel looking for their rooms.
They can't speak English probably, most of them.
I had no idea what was going on. So it was a funny trip. Yeah. A very funny trip.
That's sick. Okay, so, the next few years for you, just, you keep doing what you're doing. You're playing for Australia. You're playing for New South Wales. You keep scoring heaps of tries. You go to Vegas at the end of 2012 and for one of the great end of season trips.
Yeah, you were there, mate.
I was there. You know what? I think my soul is still there, actually. I think it is still there, and along with a lot of brain cells. But 2014, you decide to sign. You decide to sign with the Doggies. What was, you were so synonymous with the Dragons at this point, like just beloved by the fans. You played over 150 games, which is really interesting to think like, I see you as a Rooster. Like I know it's recency, but for some reason I don't know, it just suits in my mind. Anyway, what was the thought process for signing with the Doggies?
Oh, there was a few there. Obviously Josh was playing over at the Dogs, and all throughout our career, once we separated, we were always hoping that we'd get back together. So there was that. There was also the opportunity to try something new as well, challenge myself. I'd been at the Dragons for a long time, and I felt at that stage in my career that if I was ever going to do it, it had to be then. Yeah. And things just sort of fell into place, and ended up going to the Dogs over there in 2015. So did the Dragons make an offer to keep you, or was it kind of like, I want to get out of here? Yeah, it was a bit. There was a bit that happened behind the scenes that I sort of don't really want to talk about too publicly. To be honest, it's it's one of those things that happens in rugby league. Yeah. At the start of my career, I probably would have said I'd love to be a one club man and stay there for my whole life, but things happen and things change. Rugby league's a 2-way street. It isn't a 1-way street. It doesn't just all flow the same way and everyone's happy and everything happens the way it should. There was a bit of stuff that happened there behind the scenes, and it's water under the bridge now. Absolutely. At the end of the day, I still played, I think I played 169 games at the club. Won a premiership. Played all my juniors throughout that club. Got a history there. And every time I walked out there wearing that jersey, I always gave my best. So, I've still got some mates there that I'll have for the rest of my life that I played rugby league with. And I only spoke to Benny Cray maybe 2 days ago.
What's the great Benny Cray doing?
He's actually taken over his parents' insurance company.
Oh, really?
Meadow. So if you need insurance, go see Benny Cray.
In Fairy Meadow.
Yeah, I think is it GIO maybe.
You know what? The saddest thing with Benny Cray, and I try to tell people, the whole situation with Hodjo and in Origin and that, Benny Cray is actually one of the toughest players I've ever seen play. And a lot of people, because of the whole pushing and then, whatever happened in Origin, a lot of people don't know that. They don't know that he is fucking one of the mentally toughest guys I've ever played footy with.
Yeah. I'll back you up 100%. Like, that guy is a tough dude.
Yeah.
He had chronic knee injury, basically played, I don't know, what, the last 5 years of his career with a chronic knee injury.
Yeah, like bone on bone kind of stuff.
That's hard to do. Like, to play at the highest level, week in, week out. And, mate, never once did you hear Benny complain. Never once.
Literally.
He's like literally the nicest guy in the whole world.
Yep.
But yeah, one of the toughest guys. And he's one of, I wouldn't run straight at him.
No way. Man,
one of the best tackling techniques I've seen. If someone ran straight at him, they got creased.
100%.
So, and he always ran those hard lines.
Yep.
Never took a backward step.
No.
I remember there was a stat that used to be in the big league, most decoys. Mate, Benny Cray was always at the top. Mate, I'm telling you, he was running those decoys at 110 mile an hour, and we always used to give Benny Hornby a bit of stick. Mate, just pass him the ball, get him off this list.
Far out.
Give someone else number one for a change. But, as I said, my career at the Dragons, the way it ended, everything happens for a reason, and it is what it is.
And so you go to the Doggies, and you go to the mad professor, Desi Hasler. What was it like first few weeks working with Desi going, wow, what he's actually doing?
Oh, look, yeah, it was pretty cool, actually, to be honest. Like, obviously, seeing Desi in the media and the way that, he talks and he's portrayed, like, you see Desi in the media and he talks real slow and everything's calculated control. First time I met him, he was talking to me at 100 mile an hour and I was like, I had to put my hand over my mouth and I was like, trying not to laugh because I had in my head that he was just going to talk to me the same way he does in his press conferences. Yeah. So, like, I was like, straight away, like, holy crap, this guy's completely different. And mate, he's a character too. Like, he's a really funny dude. But as you said, very technical. Some of the video sessions were quite long to get used to them. But I enjoyed my time playing under Desi, and obviously that side that I came into, they'd been in the grand final the year before and lost. So they were looking to make amends and had a really good squad and a really good roster for a couple of seasons there. And I was very excited by the prospect that there could be another opportunity to win a comp for sure.
And so first year, score 14 tries. Oh no, sorry, so first year 9 tries, 16 matches. Played in 2 of the 3 games, state origin again. Like, at this stage of your career, where's your headspace at? Are you just thinking premierships? Is that just like your own? That's more premierships. Yep,
100%.
Yeah.
All that's all I wanted to do was to try and win more premierships. That year, I think I tore my hammy really badly. It was in that Good Friday game against South, where everyone lost their crap. It was the last play of the game, and I tore my hammy. I tore my hammy tendon pretty badly, and I was out till about like round 16 or something.
Yep.
Before I came back. I was a long time on the sidelines, and being new to a club, that's the last thing you want to do.
Absolutely.
That was a little bit frustrating. But by the time I come back,
was this the game against the Doggies where everyone was fighting and you were fighting your brother?
No, that was 2009 at Wynn Stadium.
That was that's earlier.
Yeah, that was heaps earlier. No, it was the one where James Graham went for the charge down and hit Adam Reynolds' ankle.
Oh, and he got...
and they ended up getting a penalty because no one knew the rule then.
Yeah.
Right? So he missed the field goal and the ball went like 20 metres away from the post.
Yeah.
And they got the penalty right in front. We're like, the heck? How does this work? We literally, no one knew the rules. So there was a bit of an uproar about that. And at that stage, we were winning by 1 point. So they kicked the goal. They go up and they're beating us. So I tore me hammy the last play of the game. So for me, that was pretty frustrating. I still thought, we were playing really good footy that year. I thought we were a big chance of, going on further with it. I think we played the Dragons first week of the finals. So that was, coming up against the old team in the finals. We ended up beating them. I think we played the Roosters the week after, and they knocked us out, actually. They knocked us out, So, and then 2016 comes around. We're still very similar side.
Yep.
Still believe we've got a fair chance of winning. I think we might have lost a couple of games there towards the back end of the year. I think we finished in the bottom half of the table. I think we played Penrith I think we played Penrith week 1 of the finals, and I think they knocked us out. I don't think we played our best footy, and we ended up getting knocked out. So, and then after that, the Dogs, it was sort of all that sort of stuff started happening off field with boards and whatnot, and players moving on, and some of these players were fan favourites, not only fan favourites but player favourites. Like you had Josh Reynolds and James Graham move on. These are guys that you loved having in the club, especially off the field. In the change rooms, around lighten the mood. Like you always need some of these guys, these characters in rugby league teams. You need them, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Some of them are outstanding players and their characters as well. Some aren't. They'll do their job.
Yeah.
Some aren't even the best players, but they are amazing clubmen.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
these are the people that you love having around the club, because they, when the mood starts getting down or whatever, these guys tend to bring it back up.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, obviously we had Josh Reynolds, outstanding player as well. James Graham, absolute top player. If you've ever had a beer with him or spoke to him
Legend.
off the field, one of the funniest guys getting around. So there was a lot of changes, and I think it affected our football. And then obviously Desi got moved on, and Dean Pay was brought in 2018. Again, changes and whatnot. So, whilst you're going out there trying to play your best footy, there's a lot of stuff that was happening that was affecting the team, and it was affecting everyone. So, I sort of realised that was, probably a lost opportunity there. And, I was off contract at the end of 2018. And so I knew that. And with the way that things were going, I probably wouldn't have stayed at the Dogs regardless. They didn't offer me a contract. So even if they offered me one, I probably wouldn't have stayed. I would have been looking to go elsewhere. Just with everything that had happened, and for me again, felt like I needed a fresh start. Needed to
Did you lose
myself.
a bit of love for the game in that period, or
probably a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. I think also, again, I had sort of injuries as well. That I had an injury. End of 2015, I had surgery. Right, I had surgery on my knee. I did like a thing with it's called microfracture, and I had put stem cells put in my knee. And the surgery, it didn't go as planned. So round 1 of 2016, I go back in and have exactly the same surgery minus the stem cells. So I basically missed 2/3 of the 2016 season. So I had the microfracture surgery twice. So my knee, I had pain in my knee for all the way up until 2018, basically, from those surgeries. It was a fighting battle to try and get the swelling down week in, week out. So, just little stuff like that. We weren't winning games of footy. Mate, I was always trying hard. I would never go out and put in a crap performance. I just wouldn't do that. That's not in my nature. I'd always go out and give 100%. But, there's times where you're just going, this is crap. We're getting towed up. We're putting in this much effort. My knee feels crap. I'm always in pain. And I'm one of these guys that I don't like taking anything. I don't like taking supplements. I, barely even take Panadol, to be honest. I'd just rather just deal with it naturally or whatever. But, for the knee, I had to take anti-inflams, and constantly, it felt like I was just constantly taking them, and mess with your guts and all types of crap. So, those the back end of those years of the Dogs were quite frustrating. For me, getting a fresh start, I still knew I could play good footy. I just had to get my body right. I just needed, the mental side, probably a fresh start to, have that opportunity to start learning again. Because, I feel whenever I've had to learn or relearn things again, it brings you out the best in me, because you're basically going back to the bottom of the ladder, and you've got to work your way back up it. Right, so it's almost like you've been, I know I played, 12 years by the time I got to the Roosters, but it felt like when I went there, I was back at the bottom of the rank. I had to earn the respect of everyone there involved. I had to learn everything again. And for me, that was always exciting. Because it was a new challenge. So, when I got the phone call off my manager that Robbo was keen, I was like, really?
Wow.
That's so good. Because at this stage, I'd been watching them. They over the previous years, they obviously won in 2013, but No, all the way through. Every time we played them, it was always a hard game. Yeah. Like, you walked off the field saying, that's a bloody good football side, and you respected them. Like, so when I got that call, like, I was over the moon.
Really?
Over the moon. It was funny too, because when I met up with Robbo, I had like a leak at my house, right? So I had insurance. Yeah. Had to come and fix it all, and mate, it was like a worst nightmare, whatever. And we ended up, they put us up in the Quest Service Apartments, which is above Northies at Cronulla.
Oh no!
So I literally, it was like round 5 I went in there, right? And it would have been maybe sort of the back end towards the like 17 or 18 that I actually met with Robbo.
Yeah.
And so at this stage, I sort of knew the people downstairs that worked at the Quest, because I'd see them every day walking in or out or whatever. And they're like, "Oh, that Trent Robinson just came in. Do you know why he'd coming in?" I was like, "No idea. I don't know what he's doing out here. Roosters, I've got no idea. I'm the Dogs." Like, so like, it was funny trying to play that off. But yeah, like literally meeting Robbo in a serviced apartment. And he was like, "Is this where you live?" And I was like,
"Life's gone tough."
Nah, man. And I literally had my baby like a week before my third child, a week before. So we bought a newborn home. Like we're in a 2-bedroom little serviced apartment, newborn like crying. And my wife's
like,
there.
"Wow,
She's just like,
times are tough, bro."
I was like, "Oh no, I actually live around the corner." But yeah, it was an interesting meeting. But I mean, everything that he said to me, like I was excited. And then as soon as he left, I was like to my manager, "I don't care what they pay me, just get me there."
Really? I just want to be there.
Yeah.
Wow, that's for a player in your position that had achieved so much. That's like that shows you how much you wanted to be there. So when you rock up for the first, pre-season session, was there a noticeable difference of like, wow, there's levels and these guys are at the tippity top?
Yeah, I definitely, I rocked up November 1, so I was there with all the young kids. Like literally, I think I was like, the closest person to me was like 21 and I was like 32.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God, there's a bit of an age. But all these kids were ripping in.
Yeah.
And then, obviously with the coaching and all the techniques and all that sort of stuff, like just their mindset, like you could tell it was just an extremely well-run club, like coaching staff. And not only coaching staff, from, all the admin staff, trickle all the way down from the board, whatever. Like everyone there is just extremely good at what they do. And every time you walk in there, they want to make you a better person. And how do they make you be a better person? They just do their job extremely well. And everyone in there is just, they're amazing people. Like, I know, it might sound like a bit of a suck up, but that's the people there. There's good people within that club, and that's why they get good results. Yeah. Because the people care about you and they want to make you a better person and a better player. Yeah. It's about more than just rugby league. It's about the whole I guess the whole facet of being a person, really. Yeah, well, I mean, rugby league is only a small part of our lives. Yeah. There's so much away from, training and playing. And if you're a decent human being, you get a lot of respect out of that. And, as I said, like everyone there wants to see you succeed. They want to see you become a better person, better player, better husband, better son, all that type of jazz. So, there's no egos at all. Yeah. There's a lot of misconceptions that people at the Roosters have got these big heads because they live in the eastern suburbs or whatever, but it's not like that. I think this year was such a good example of and I said it I feel like I said it every week on the podcast, but I was just like, this year was you got to see the tough underbelly of the club. Like you got to see what the club is really about. I think sometimes because you've got so many superstars, very easy to go, oh, this is a superstar, easy. I guess things come easy for these superstars, whereas this year showed, no, this is a gritty, tough club that is misconstrued as like eastern suburbs. Things come easy. Okay, so 2018 season, 2019, sorry. 2018, they obviously win the comp. 2019, you basically, you don't have to fight your way into the side, but you have to earn back that form, you know what I mean? What was that whole year like for you, Yeah, look, it was, as I said, like really, really good for me. Like fresh start, new beginning. So, and for me that always meant that you had to work hard. You had to train hard. You had to put in, I did that regardless. But like, you had to show these guys that you were serious, that you were here. They were coming off a competition win, that you wanted the same success that they had. And the only way you could do that was by working hard and showing them that you were prepared to work. So, we also had Ryan Hoare, who'd come over from England. He was coming off the back of a knee injury, which wasn't ideal for him. But, I started there, played South, first game, thought I had a pretty decent game. Second game, we played Manly, and it's a pouring down rain. And we made a break or something. I was supporting someone. I got tackled from behind, and my knee goes into the ground and literally goes down about that deep twist. So I tear my medial, like PCL damage as well. So I ended up missing until about round 15 or something like that. So had a new club, injury. I'm just like, not again. But obviously I had dealt with that. And in that time, we had Matty Cavallo sort of come in, fill the void, and then Hawley as well. And then I think Hawley might have dislocated his kneecap or something at training, and it was just when I was literally about due to come back. So it was almost like a sliding doors moment. I come back into the side, and then from there played the rest of the year. And obviously outstanding side, like you said, rock star side. Like Teddy's doing some unbelievable things.
Crazy.
Coops is controlling the ship, doing an extremely good job. Jazz is up front leading all the forwards. All these boys are stepping up. Going through the final series, we played week 1, we played South. We played them again, I think the week before maybe. And I think they beat us. So we're coming into the final series. They're coming into it pretty confident because they knocked us off the week before, and I think we beat them 30-6. So a really good win. And then we get the week off, and then we're playing Melbourne. Melbourne at the SCG.
Yep.
So we knew that was going to be an extremely hard game. And mate, that was that was probably one of the most physical finals games I played in. Like they, again, awesome side, and they have proven that year after year after year. I mean, I remember the kickoff to that game. So we've kicked it down. Big Nelson's charged back off the kickoff.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
I don't know how, because I was on the wing. I think maybe Coops pushed out to the wing and I ran down just in time, so I was at the centre or whatever. Yeah. I don't know. I ended up in the tackle with Big Nelson, right? Yeah. And Siwa's in there over the top or whatever. And we stand up. I'm at second marker. And all of a sudden, punches start going, and I'm like, I'm out of here. I just bailed. So Kenny Bromwich was taking a hit up, and he sort of saw that there was a bit of gap there because no mark come out. So I had to make the tackle, and I was just like, these big boys are going, I'm out. Way. See you, lads. Yep. They ended up both getting 10 in the bin. So literally, first 10 seconds of the game, and it's on. That's set up for a very good game. And, I remember walking off after that one, so pumped. Being a grand final again, taken so long, so much had gone in between that and my last one. Obviously, leaving clubs, injuries, form, setbacks, whatever, to finally get there to that end goal again was an amazing feeling. And, we knew we were coming up against Canberra, who were playing some really good footy, so it was going to be a tough ask.
Yeah. So, Canberra, the famous 6 again grand final. You guys, I hate that the 6 again.
See, I knew that wasn't 6 again, but because I was standing right behind it when it happened.
Yeah.
So if you see all of us playing the whistle, it's because we knew that it wasn't 6 again. So they were probably going to throw it around a bit.
Yeah.
So we didn't see any of that stuff because it all happened behind us, right?
Yeah.
So I'm standing behind Teddy. I know that he hasn't touched the ball, so I know it's not 6 again. I know it's come off one of their players. Yeah. So I'm running around trying to freaking tackle everything that moves because I know that if they get the ball away, they're going to offload, kick or whatever. Yeah. So we just played to the whistle because, mate, we didn't hear it and we knew that Teddy hadn't touched it. Yeah. So. Well,
that's what I was going to say. I wish it never happened because your defence in that game, one of the great performances. It just doesn't get appreciated enough. The fact that you guys defended on your line for so many sets and you were under the pump constantly, and it was one of the great defensive efforts. Seriously, I just thought it was Yeah, it was incredible. What do you remember from that grand final? Is that something you remember?
Definitely. It definitely felt like our defence was on. We knew if we could score one more try that, we're probably going to win that game.
Yep.
Obviously we lost Cooper to 10 in the bin, and mate, they were just coming at us non-stop. They kept kicking it into my corner. So I just knew I had to do my job and keep diffusing them and not make any errors, not let them sort of get a chance to get a sniff there. And obviously once Cooper comes back on and we're at full strength again, it's like, well, let's turn it up a notch now. Like, all these guys are like blowing, like.
And Keary's busted.
Sucking in seagulls.
Keary's ankle was busted, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Completely, like he shouldn't have played.
Yeah. So mate, it was amazing what he did. But everyone's, obviously hurting from the defence that we were put through. But once we got that, extra man back on and realised, they haven't made a dent, let's go here. And then all we needed was that one chance. And
So Boyd Corner gets a quick play of the ball. Keary goes long, comes back to the short side. Terrell.
Yeah.
Out the back. Tubes.
Big Toopy down the sideline. Teddy up the middle.
What do you think?
I just remember seeing Teddy running towards the try line and just arms in the air. Like, I was absolutely stuffed.
Yeah.
But like sprinted.
Yeah.
Sprinted down there to like jump. Carry on. Because the amount of pressure that we'd been under and had to withstand, and to know that we could not only withstand it but then go on to score points. Look, that was a massive turning point. And obviously we knew that they were still going to be coming, but just give us that breathing space. Yeah. Be comfortable being uncomfortable with what they were going to put us through, but knowing that we had that buffer and that this game was ours to win. So,
so the siren goes. What are you thinking?
Oh, I can't say it. I can't use the words, but mate, I was just over the moon. And mate, I don't know who took the shot, but it's one of my favourite shots. I've actually got it framed at home. There's a photo of me just looking up to the sky. I was basically just let out everything that I had in my body. Like, I was just so relieved, so over the moon. And mate, it's again like one of the best feelings, and I definitely appreciated this one a whole lot more just because of what I'd been through for all the years in the lead up to get to that point. And I had to prove myself over and over, I felt, and to get to that win, like, mate, it was incredible. It was amazing. And like, not only that, like, these guys had gone back to back, so like I was pumped for them. Like, this is something that hadn't happened. So like the win for these guys as well was historic. Like, there was so much emotion, and it just all just come out, which was good. I got to do it in front of my own family. My wife, obviously I had my mum and whatever that there for the first grand final. Kate was there as my wife was there as well, but wife, kids, get to share that with them, take them out on the field.
Oh, there's a picture.
There's the picture there.
What a photo.
Yeah, that's the one.
Look at that shit.
That's what a grand final win feels like.
Oh man, how good. That's sick.
Yeah.
Sick photo. You know what? We're not going to show anyone on the YouTube, so that you can sit there and go, what the fuck they looking at? What the fuck they looking at?
Yeah, mate, it's amazing.
No, we'll put it up. We'll put it up on the YouTube.
Like I said,
make sure you put it up, Matty.
It's one of my favourite photos of my career, definitely, mate, because there's so much that goes into that photo.
Well, because like you kind of, and correct me if I'm wrong, you kind of skimmed over it a little bit, but at the Dogs, it wasn't like, I assume, every club was chasing it. You had to fight. Like the Trent Robinson reaching out, you weren't signed there as like, oh, you're our marquee winger, like you're going to be. You were signed there as you had an incredible career. You may be on the tail end, but maybe you still got more in you.
Yeah.
You had to fight to
get
back to where you were.
Yep. That's exactly how it went, pretty much.
Yeah. And like you kind of skimmed over it, but like I remember when you signed for the Roosters, it wasn't a signing of like, oh fuck, Brett Morris is signed, he's the face of the club. Because like, if you put it this way, you from Dragons to Doggies was a massive deal because you were best ring in the comp, had been for a period. Whereas that's why I asked you, did you feel like you kind of lost a bit of love for the game because the Doggies just didn't seem, watching you play, just didn't seem towards the end there that you were loving it as much.
Yeah.
And And so to go on and go to the Roosters back to back, like you're part of that second side that wins again. What did Robbo say in the sheds after? Or not much?
Obviously just massive achievement. Like these guys, you know, I'd only been there for the 1 year, but for these guys to go back to back was, I mean, huge, historic, like
crazy.
Just doesn't happen these days.
People don't understand how hard that is.
And like, you know how hard it is to win one comp, but let alone go on and win another. Like every week is like a grand final because, you know, every team wants to beat the premiers from last year.
Absolutely.
And like, I mean, so the next year was even harder. Obviously, you know, coming off the back of back-to-back grand final wins. But I mean, that year was very special. And I don't know how they felt, but I felt the whole year that we were going to win the comp.
Yep. I mean, he's looked so good, especially earlier in the year. What's something that, like, you know, you've had numerous different coaches now. You've had Bennett, you've had Desi, and now you've had Trent Robinson. And like Desi is right up there, in my opinion, with the great coaches. I'd probably, at the moment, for me, it would probably go like Wayne, Bellamy, Robinson. But Trent is only like 40, early 40s. Mm. So he's still got another, like, if he wants to, 15 years. Yep. What's something that, you know, that Trent brings that you feel is very unique to him?
I think Robbo's, you know, he's the whole package.
I call him Trent because he's my mate.
Like, his whole package, like, as in coaching, like, he understands the people, so he's a great people person. Mm. He understands the game really well. I mean, both sides of the game, attack, defence. Mm. Also the mindset that goes behind rugby league. But then also there's the mindset away from rugby league about, you know, what you need to be doing. And it's not always the most, mainstream way to go about things. He likes to do things a little bit differently, which opens your mind up to different experiences. And, you know, that's something that, you know, I sort of haven't had from these other coaches that I had before.
Rugby league,
he's a great thinker of the
very
game.
Bubble-like. You know, there's like a way you talk, you do things, and those are certain things you're interested in, and that's it usually.
Yeah. I mean, obviously with Wayne, you know, Wayne's an outstanding coach, but, you know, great people person, but, you know, Wayne hates like video sessions. He hates all that sort of stuff. Like, so Wayne obviously is very smart in that he's, you know, gets great coaches with him as well that, you know, pick up on those other parts that he dislikes. Yeah. You know, we had Steve Price there at the Dragons, great assistant coach. He, you know, helped Wayne. Wayne was, you know, massive on the attack. Pricey was big on the defence. And, you know, again, like at South, you know, we saw just recently his assistant's gone on to take that role as head coach next year. So Wayne, again, like a great people person, knows how to get the best out of the cares about the play. Like, the thing I said about Wayne is Wayne can walk in a room and he'll understand how a person works in 10 minutes. Literally like can walk away and knows, you know, what he needs to do to get that person to perform their best week in, week out, and what they need to be doing off the field to, you know, to maintain that and be a good person, a good player. Desi, again, very technical coach. Like I said, some very long video sessions. Sometimes you knew the opposition better than they knew themselves. Like you could literally say every play they were going to do. Yeah, wow. And again, like the people side, but Desi would have other people that could come in and fill that with assistant, you know, coaches and whatnot. Yep. Whereas I think Robbo's got the balance of all of it and does it all really well. He's definitely one of the smartest coaches I've played under. And not only that, like you think you sort of know a fair bit about rugby league, and then he asks you a question and you just,
okay, maybe I don't know that much.
Stump me here. So it gets you, like I said, thinking outside the box, thinking about all the different sort of options there are. There's not always, you know, one option. There's, you know, different options that you can sort of go down to get the same result. And I mean, I think he's a wonderful coach, and
he was actually my coach of the year this year. I know, obviously Bellamy's fucking amazing, and they went on that streak. But I just thought what Trent managed to do with basically probably half a reserve grade side, and that's no disrespect to the younger guys. That's just, you know, the way footy is. I thought it was amazing. What I also listened to a podcast that he did with Mark Boris, and how I was shocked at how philosophical he was, like into things like Marcus Aurelius is, you know, he's a Roman Empire, Roman general, like, And as you said, that's very outside the box. Like you don't have philosophical discussions around footy. You're talking about the punt. You're talking about footy and beers. That's it. That's it. Heads will explode if you go down a different route. I think if he continues on this trajectory, he's on the trajectory to be one of the, if not the greatest, definitely. He's already one of the greatest in my opinion. Okay, so you win that grand final, and then going into 2020, the great Josh Morris of Morris fame, that's your twin brother, he gets a release from the Sharks and joins you. How stoked were you to think, fuck, I might finish my... Like, the chances of that happening are so small. How stoked were you that happened?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I'm not going to lie, that was pretty awesome. Obviously, things happened over there at the Sharks, and they had a bit of salary cap trouble, and they had to move, someone on. So.
And then one of their players got pinged. What are the chances? Like, they got this gun centre, like Australian centre, and they're like, oh, yeah, sweet, you can go. And then, boom, the young kid that really hasn't proved anything. Don't get me wrong, Bronson had a lot of potential, and he may still come back and kill it. But I tell you what, you got an Australian centre, you keep him happy. But anyway, that happened.
Yeah, but anyway, he got to come over, and it was interesting because his first day he come in to training, and literally we had like a meeting because we'd play the game the day before that. We had our meetings or whatever, so he's come in, just been a part of that, met all the boys, and then as we're literally walking out of the meeting room, they're like, the comp's off. And he's like, oh, what? Like, they've shut the comp down because of COVID. So literally, he's like, are we playing again this year? What's happening? Like, do I have a job? What's going on? So like, it was pretty funny. But in that time, obviously we had the break for COVID, so we had to train. So it was a good thing that we sort of had that break because it gave him an opportunity to learn the way that we train. Yeah, okay. Because obviously the way that clubs train are different from every club you go to. And he got a bit of a rude shock with some of the training sessions we did. He hadn't sort of done stuff like that for a long time. So it was quite fun doing fitness sessions with him. And
so what was
I was feeling good and he was
feeling bad,
looking like he was about to die or spew.
So what kind of did you do? Was it, I guess, heavy wrestling or was it?
No, it wasn't so much heavy. It was more like the field conditioning, cardio sessions, that sort of, just the way that we sort of trained at the intensity at which we trained, because that's the way that we train when we go against each other. Yeah. Okay. So like when we're doing our opposed sessions or whatever against our reserve grade team or whatever. It's quite high intensity. So we sort of train that way regardless of what we're doing. So just sort of teaching him that this is the way that we train. Yep. And, if he was doing something and it looked like he wasn't going 100 mile an hour, I'd chip him, and then the next one he would, and whatever. So, like he was, for the first couple of weeks, there was a lot of lactic acid that he was dealing with. Yep. And but by the time we got back to playing, he was flying. Yeah, okay. And like if you watch a couple of his first games that he played after the break, like not just him, the whole team. Yeah. Like we were flying. We come out of that COVID break,
teams out of the break.
We were like in that good a nick, and it's just the way that we, had prepared. And I think it might have caught up with us a bit at the back end.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think maybe
because it was a long year.
Yeah.
It was a long year. It was like. Did a pre-season.
And then another
played
pre-season.
a couple of games and basically did a mini pre-season in between it. Start playing.
Because you were blowing teams off. Like it was like, holy shit, they might go back-to-back, like triple back-to-back.
Oh, we were playing some really good footy. And I mean, obviously what happened at the back end of the year, like, I don't know. It was, one of those things you can't really explain, to be honest, because it wasn't like we weren't trying or anything like that. We certainly were.
Well, it's interesting because, like, for example, a lot of the Rabbitohs players just got told, don't even think about footy. Just go do your thing. And that's such a gamble. That's such a gamble because a lot of players can go get fat as anything in a very short amount of time. Yeah. And so, for you guys, you did the smart thing, like stay in shape. Let's just get ready. But as you said, no one can, how could you possibly predict that the season would feel as long as it felt? Yeah. It's never been done before. No. So it's very hard to gauge, like, oh, do we let them relax? You just don't know.
Well, I mean, it was an unknown. Yeah. It was an unknown, something we haven't encountered before. So I think everyone sort of learned a lot from that. And then,
obviously moving
into the new year, everything was a lot shorter because of how long we actually went into the year. So there was only so much training you could actually do before this season started again. So,
and what was really interesting actually is the Melbourne Storm, when they came out of the break, they were terrible. And so like it just shows you that it was such a weird year. It was almost like you were too professional for your own good. Again, I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. Like, but you when you came out, I remember watching you going, no one's going to beat this team. They're unbelievably, they're killing it. And you're right. And then that preseason was even shorter coming into this year. So at least, I mean, obviously, you're assistant coach now, but at least with this preseason now, it's like fully back to normal kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, and that's obviously going to be a good thing for everyone. I mean, you know, obviously COVID had happened.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's thrown a spanner in the works as the way that the competition has, you know, run over the last 2 years. And not only that, we had all these rule changes as well.
Crazy.
Thrown in, you know, we've had, you know, disrupted seasons, pre-seasons, new rules. Like, it all adds up to what it is now.
What was it like, you know, because you've been around pre-wrestle, when the wrestle come in, because wrestle came in 2007.
We were doing it before then.
You were doing it before then?
Yeah. Not as seriously. Not as seriously. Like, it was still part of the game, but it wasn't like you had sessions lessons dedicated to it and you were going outside to another venue to do it. Yeah.
So you've seen quite a different kind of footy. What was it like when the rule changes came in? Was it just so quick, the game? Like,
yeah, like it was fast.
Yeah.
It was. I actually didn't mind it because, you know, I said this to Robert, like I can float infield now and I can just sort of support for a couple of plays or whatever around the ruck because the ruck's just opening up.
Yep.
Like as soon as you get one quick play the ball, it's very hard to get momentum back. Like you see it in any game, as soon as a team starts getting momentum, usually doesn't stop till they score.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And so team just said, stuff it, we'll line you, give the penalty away.
Exactly, and then they've sort of brought that in. Like the thing I'd like to see is like bring a penalty back if you're coming out of your own half.
100%.
I don't want a 6 again when I'm 1 metre off my try line.
One tackle, mad.
Because you give me an extra tackle and they just slowed it right up so they can tighten their line up, get line speed and bashes. Let me kick the ball out 30 metres down and see if they're going to lay there again for 10 seconds next time they make the tackle.
Totally, I totally
that's
agree.
one thing I think they sort of got wrong because it just allowed teams to do that. And some teams are smarter than others. Some teams do it really well. Other teams, you know, they try and uphold the integrity and they don't want to do stuff like that. That's fair enough. Everyone plays the game the way that they play it. Everyone looks for certain advantages. You know, it's just the way that rugby league is. It's the way that it always will be. There will be teams that work out how to do things better than others.
Yep.
But I think that's one thing that that really annoyed me is like, just let them kick for touch.
Yeah, absolutely.
It will improve the discipline because they won't then go and lay on them.
Yep.
And how much does that slow the game up?
Yeah. Oh, man, it's torture.
Like kick it touch, they run down and get it, they put the ball in play. What's that?
Yeah.
Extra 10 seconds or whatever.
Well, it's also,
that's just what the play of the ball just took up.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, it's actually more exciting because now it's an attacking set.
Exactly. They're going to finish their set towards the end. Like they should get an attacking kick at the end of their set.
Exactly.
And that's your punishment for laying over there and 10-second play the ball and trying to get an advantage.
100%. And this is where I feel like, and you know, obviously we probably can't go deep into it because you're still involved, whereas I get to say whatever I want because I'm not involved. But this is where I feel like it should have been tested. All of these changes should have been tested in reserve grade because then we would have seen, oh, wait a sec, this is what's going to happen. And then we wouldn't have had a situation where I probably reckon this year there was maybe 4 or 5 teams that really abused the system and most of the other teams are like, we're not really going to do that. Whereas, hopefully they change it. We'll see what happens.
I mean, it's interesting. Like I didn't think there was anything wrong with our game to change it in the first place. I thought we had a great product. It's amazing to watch on TV. Extraordinary athletes that are putting in, week out, who are already pushing their body to the limits to the max. So I mean, as you said, like they tried and tested, they didn't have an opportunity because the reserve grade comp wasn't there. I don't know.
Yeah,
I would have waited. It's for smarter people to work out than us.
Absolutely. Okay, so obviously this year. You retire, and obviously your brother also. Was that always a plan, do you think, or not really? Subconsciously, maybe? Because I'll be honest.
I kind of thought he was. Well, it's pretty easy to think he's going to retire when we're both sitting there at the end of pre-season saying, thank God we don't have to do another one of them.
Because I'll be honest, and this I could be totally wrong, but it looked to me towards the end that Josh, he missed you on the field. Yeah, that's what it looked like to me. It looked like he just missed, he'd come to the Roosters to play with you, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah, I heard, a fair few people say that as well, other people. And, his form sort of was dipping in and out of games. I think, having me out there was always that, well, I've just seen him do that. I want to do something better. Like, we always sort of, it was a competitiveness. It was never any bitterness or animosity towards each other. It was always trying to get the best out of each other. So, if I did something good, I'm like, well, now it's your turn. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, almost you look at each other as if to say, well, come on, you got to lift here. And I think he definitely missed that. Probably should have told him, maybe find another one of the boys to do it with or something like that, because, we've been doing our whole lives against each other. And, when you're missing that sort of part, I can understand why something like that would happen. But, I thought, going back to the retirement, I thought he was going to retire at the end of this year. So.
Yeah, okay. Well, I think it's so good. I think it's so good that you've got to play together, one more time before, you hung the boots up. How excited are you for the assistant coaching role? Like, that's crazy. It happened so quickly too. It wasn't like you had a few years out and then you come back or whatever. How excited are you?
Yeah, I'm pumped, mate. I've been involved in rugby league since I was 4 years old. It's all I've ever known. Over my career, I've always sort of been one of these guys that likes to lead by example with the way that I played. Not always the biggest talker, but usually when I spoke, people would listen. And, towards the back end of my career, probably from, late 20s well into my 30s, I was always trying to mentor these younger kids to try and teach them, ways to become better players, parts of their games where they could improve on or, certain situations. So I think that definitely applies to coaching as well. I can, get my hands on them and help them in certain positions, wingers, centres, whatever. Definitely help them guys. Played a lot of football in the outside backs. And I think the biggest part, like playing, like I learn a lot more in the back end of my career just about picking sides apart, like how to go about that, attacking wise. And then not only that, but shutting teams down with, defensive styles and patterns and whatnot. So, I'm over the moon that I've been lucky enough to get an assistance role. And, it starts soon. Starts very soon.
That's
so,
crazy.
Yeah, very excited.
You're going to be one of those dudes that's walking around with your little clip pad while the boys are getting towed up.
I keep getting told, take a picture of your hair. And I'm like, mate, I don't care about my hair. Like, it's already grey. Like, what happens if I lose it? Who cares? But the thing is, like, I've got football cards for the last 15 years. I can slowly see my hairline receding and getting greyer. So I don't need to take a photo now. There's already proof. Yeah. If my hair goes, it goes.
It goes. Yeah, 100%. I need to make it work. I think it's so good that you are. If you could, now that it's all said and done, what stands out for you the most in your career?
Definitely the grand finals.
Yeah,
definitely the grand finals because they're like achievements that you remember for the rest of your life. Like just what you go through with those guys for the whole year, and then to reach that final stage and hold up the trophy. Like, it's not only just you that gets the enjoyment out of that; it's all the guys that you've worked so hard next to in the trenches with, going through all the battles week in, week out, and you get to share that together. Representing my state, my country, but doing it with Josh as well. Doing it with my best mate, having that brother right alongside me the whole way. Yeah, that was that's amazing. It's stuff you can only dream of. You get to live out your dream. With your best mate.
Crazy.
And they're living theirs as well.
So good, so good. What's he going to do now?
Well, he's taken a fair bit of time up with the beer.
Okay.
So if anyone knows Josh, he loves to talk. So
okay,
that's the way that people can tell the difference between me and Josh. When we walk into a room, you'll know who's who after about 10 minutes because Josh doesn't shut up and I'm usually sitting there quietly just watching him dig a hole for himself. So, he's involved very heavily with the beer. Okay. Getting the brand out there, obviously trying to, wheel and deal, get it into bottle shops and whatnot. So he's actually enjoying it.
Yeah.
Obviously finish football, you sort of need a routine straight away. You need to fall into something so you're not just sitting around at home, on your backside. And so it's been good. It's been getting him up, getting him out of the house, and he's been enjoying it. And hopefully, comes more business. The beer gets bigger and bigger. And but he's obviously doing that. And I mean, he's just cruising. He's just, going with the flow.
Going with the flow. Mate, I love it. Okay, I'll ask all the boys this. Favourite rapper of all time?
My favourite rapper?
Yeah.
Jesus. I'd probably just be like Eminem. I wasn't a massive rap fan growing up.
Yeah.
So,
you're a country fan?
I don't mind country music. Yeah. But like Eminem was probably, he'd come out when I was in high school and everyone was sort of listening, and he was sort of mainstream.
Yeah, he was a mainstream.
So I'd probably say Eminem.
Favourite movie of all time?
Favourite movie? I'd have to say probably Remember the Titans.
Great.
Yeah,
classic.
I love that movie.
Absolute
awesome
classic.
Movie.
If in 12 months everything happens perfectly, what are you doing?
Celebrating a grand final win.
Celebrating a grand final. Mate, I tell you what, if you could do what you did with the team, that you had this week, could you imagine when Kiri comes back? He's the forgotten man, in my opinion. Fuck.
Yeah, mate, he's a massive inclusion in the side, obviously.
So good.
This takes a lot of pressure off some of those other guys as well. Like, Sammy's only a young kid, but not only that, like Teddy, if you watch Teddy, the way that he played, he's been amazing. And the thing about Teddy, I know he does get credit, but he does not get the credit he deserves because he plays at such a high standard every week. Everyone just expects him to do that.
Yeah.
But it is so hard to play at that level every single. This is what people don't understand. To do that consistently, week in, week out, year after year.
That's just
It is extremely hard, and only special people can do that,
mate. 100%.
And I don't think he gets the raps that he deserves. But also, again, like I said, with Luke coming back, that frees Teddy up to sort of, do a bit more of the stuff that he wants to do. Because there was times there this year where he was just picking the team up on his shoulders.
Yep.
It's the same, with Teddy. Jared did it a couple of times as well.
Yep.
And these guys are leaders of the club, and I think the young kids would have seen that, and I think they would have learned a lot from that as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, Teddy, he's played some of the highest level consistent footy I've seen maybe ever. Like in the last 4 years of his career, he has been every game. You could probably count maybe 5 games where he was just good. Whereas every other game he's been great.
Yep.
Like literally great.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. I don't know how he does it. I don't know how his body does it. You know what I mean? Like,
mate, he looks after it.
Does he?
Yeah, he takes great. Yeah. He doesn't mind a beer every now and then.
Okay.
But no, he does take great care of it. He understands that if you look after yourself, that's what you can do. And he's an amazing player.
He's a gun.
Yeah,
mate. Make sure people to grab a case of Cattleman's Brewing from cattleman'sbrewingco.com.
The mid-strength lager.
Mid-strength lager.
Yeah.
Absolute. A beer that tastes like real beer.
A beer that tastes like real beer and looks like real beer.
Looks like real beer.
It smells like real beer too.
That's, mate, thank you so much for coming on, bro. One of the greatest wingers of all time, in my opinion. And that's coming from a fellow winger, so that must be heavy raps. Mate, what an incredible career, and good luck with this. We'll stay in touch, obviously. Cheers for coming on.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me.
Boom.